I think it's delish.
Good.
I will take it.
Welcome to another episode of Grind Culture Podcast.
What up, y'all?
I am Ed.
I am Colton.
And welcome back. Took another day off. Enjoy the holiday weekend, or the holiday week as we should say. 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Let's get to that very quick. How was your 4th of July? What do? You guys have any traditions? Where do you go? You travel? Beach is a big thing around here. What do you guys do?
Usually we just hang out at home and like barbecue and go to the pool. The past few years, that's what we've done. Usually make like tie-dye shirts that are like red, white, and blue.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of hang out, eat food.
You guys did that this year again, right?
Mm-mm.
The tie-dyes?
We actually didn't.
No?
Yeah, we were too busy. So this 4th of July, we actually ended up moving. So we had a big move. We went to our apartment to a house. So we were busy doing that. We barely focused on doing 4th of July stuff. Actually,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm lying. Our 4th of July was surrounded by the move. But we did take a little break, half day in the afternoon/evening. Went to my wife's friend's house and enjoyed some pool time, had a barbecue. So that was good, getting a break. I actually forgot because we've been so busy, but that was good.
2 questions right off the bat.
Yep.
What did you guys eat? What do you guys eat on a 4th of July barbecue? Is it like anything out of the ordinary, or is it just like the standard hot dogs and burgers? Standard,
or not even. We go like more barbecue, so beyond the hamburgers and hot dogs, which are great, but we do usually like ribs or steak.
Mm-hmm. Ribs and steak.
This time we had chicken.
Yeah.
We had like a bunch of barbecue chicken and corn and the usual.
Yeah, we just stuck to hot dogs and wings.
Nice.
And the wings I didn't care for. I was like,
I did wings one year.
I was like, I could do a burger, I think.
Yeah.
Hot dogs are okay, but
yeah, I love wings, man.
Yeah, me too.
Just meat.
Mm-hmm.
Carnivore, man.
Yeah, big meat eaters over here. And then my second question was the pool. Do you guys? I know you. I don't know if we talked about this, but you had me and the family over at like where you grew up, up in the mountains.
That was awesome.
In the lake.
That was fun. Yep.
I'm assuming you guys, when you were little, 4th of July weekend consisted of jumping in the lake. It was a hot summer day, lake, boating.
Yeah, so growing up, we would swim at my mom's lake, which was awesome. So we would have like a lake day, and then usually like we had some family up around that time, and then we would drive to like the bigger lakes in the mountains that had like fireworks shows, and we would go to one of the lakes and watch the show.
Oh yeah. So
we'd post up and just hang out and watch the show.
I didn't even think about fireworks. We didn't even make it to fireworks. At least Eloise didn't make it to fireworks.
Either.
So we had a good weekend. Nothing eventful. Just had family over and barbecued. But
nice.
It was a long week, and I don't know. 4th of July comes and goes for me, I think, honestly.
Yeah, and I guess our listeners, this is going to be kind of late because we're going to drop this episode in a week from right now, and it'll be 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks after 4th of July, but we do hope that everybody had a good 4th and was safe and ate some meat.
Ate some good food. Playing catch up here, but we're back, and today we are going to talk kind of like prices in the coffee world, and we'll probably, I don't know the idea that you had, but I think piggybacking off the idea or like the notes that you provided me, farming prices, farming practices, coffee prices today, coffee shop prices, coffee supplies, coffee demand prices.
Yep.
Kind of all of just from start to finish of growing it to getting it in our hand from a coffee shop.
Yep.
Like, well, how is it affected? What does the trend look like?
Right.
So right off the bat, like what do we know about like farm prices or farming practices and how that translate into what it's costing people like us, like importers like us, to buy coffee?
Just like everything else in the world right now, coffee prices are not an all-time high, but an all-time high for the past like 15 years. So it's up there.
Yeah.
Per pound. Green coffee buying is pretty crazy right now. Especially if you're in the specialty coffee world. It's at an all-time high, so you really have to be smart and when you buy and how you buy, and hopefully you have enough cash flow to buy a whole pallet of coffee at a time. So that way you get, you know, better rates and all those things. But it's pretty intense right now.
Yeah.
So that can make it tricky for the roaster.
Right.
Not so much the importer or exporter, but yeah, for the green buyer, it's challenging right now, especially in where we live, which is one of the most expensive places in the world, California. It is crazy right now, just what prices are at. So not only are green coffee prices up, but the cost of goods in general are up. So when it comes to buying coffee, making coffee, everything's just more expensive right now, which is crazy, and it's hard. And what I know, I'm not too informed in this, but what I have heard is the coffee farmer actually doesn't make more money when coffee prices go up.
Yeah.
It's everybody down the line from them. So anyone past them, they're making more money. Which is crazy to think, you know, because it's like you think, oh, if coffee prices are going up, then the farmer's going to get more money.
Right.
But they don't.
Yeah. That's
a lot of the times.
I think obviously that's unfair. I mean, they are the backbone of coffee production and coffee sourcing to the world, essentially, right?
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to be working in a company that identifies the struggles of farmers.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to get into the details of it, but we partnered up with somebody that specifically caters to good farming practices.
Yep.
And this happens to be, July happens to be the month that they celebrate that, or that they inform people of it. And I was like rummaging through their website.
Yeah.
Do we want to mention who it is?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Fairtrade North America is who we're partnering with now, and it's Fairtrade Month. And I was rummaging through their website, and I got some links, and they recognize it because that's their whole niche. That's their whole goal, is to make sure that there's good farming practices and farming trade.
Nice.
That I think now more important than ever that we talk about it, because you're right, farmers, because they live in third world countries, not in the US, they don't get compensated. They're not affected by the increase or decrease of coffee prices or coffee markets. All they do is keep producing.
Right.
And to them, that's one job. That's that they're the initial point, the start point to coffee production and coffee sourcing everywhere. So
Yep.
I think there is some due diligence that we need to do in kind of, and I don't, like you said, we're not experts in this,
Right.
and we're little people compared to like a lot of the coffee brands and the coffee businesses, but we only know what we know, and what we know is that farmers should be getting compensated for coffee increases.
Yeah. If it's fluctuating so much, it's like they should be matched. It shouldn't just be going up to importers, exporters.
Right.
We should go to the root of things.
Right, and there's obviously, maybe there are farms, if not a lot of farms, that do compensate these farmers.
Yeah.
Especially ones including with or have anything to do with fair trade, because that's their main goal, is to make sure that there's fair practices. But there's a lot of other farmers, I'm assuming, that don't get rewarded because of, not even rewarded, just don't get compensated because of coffee increases.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know a little bit, because you, even dealing with it 15 minutes ago, you saw we got green coffee imported to us, and we see prices all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you do. I don't really see the prices. I see it coming in and out, but you see prices going up, and I'm assuming it's affecting a lot of people, not just us.
And anybody can, as long as you just type in like the C market on Google or whatever, and you can look up the graphs and where like prices are at.
Yeah. What do you think is affecting coffee prices right now? Because coffee, there's always I would imagine there's always a demand for coffee, because coffee is so popular. Kind of like the alcoholic market. There's just everybody drinks it, or the majority of Americans and majority of people around the world drink it. But why do you think, is it the demand for coffee that's increasing the price of coffee greens, or is it the lack of like supply of coffee? Or
can I be honest? I haven't found, and I did research, I haven't found a reason for it. I haven't. Yeah. I think it's just following trend of what's going on right now with the economy, especially in the U.S. You know, it's just following trend of how everything is right now, and it's at an all-time high. Yeah. You know, shipping rates like just went up like by 6%. Yeah. You know, with USPS, and it's just, you know, I think it's just following trend. There's no real reason. Like, it's not like we're in a scarce like coffee supply. It's not like there was a huge, I mean, maybe some like countries, I haven't seen them, but maybe, you know, there's been storms or something. I would get it if there has been natural disasters and it's causing there to be a supply issue, and therefore coffee prices that are all-time high. But there's not that going on right now. Yeah, there is some droughts going on constantly. Every now and then it's switching back and forth, and who knows, but there is no real reason right now for green coffee prices to be so high. Yeah. And I think it's just, you know, it's like, especially in America, it's like things go up and then everybody needs to get paid more, right? So it's really just following trend. Yeah. And it's like, when is it going to end? Is it going to go back down? Yes, it is going to follow high. It's like gas prices, right? Like gas prices, our whole life has, you know, it started, I don't know if you remember, like the lowest price you paid for a gallon of gas, or you watched your parents pay, but I can remember like $1, like $30, $20. Once it hit $2, it was like, oh my gosh, like the world's going to end, you know, like what's going on? It's cost $25 to fill my tank now. Right. But now we're, you know, $5-6 in California, and it's like, it plays a mind game with you, because it's like they raise prices and then they stay up, and then they go down to like half of what they were. So you're like, okay, I can deal with it. And then they go back up, stay at that same high, go down. And then they go up, like way up, like more like $1 above the up, and just like a never ending trend up. Yeah. I've never seen it trend down, you know, and there's nothing that I've ever seen that goes down. It stays down. Yeah. But I guess that's just inflation, and we don't have to get into all that right now, because it can get really political, and, you know, there can be a bunch of opinions out there, but all I want to say is it's crap, dude. Yeah, it really is. You know,
it sucks because the relationship we have with not only Coffee Green, I know we're talking about coffee here, but you're right, like gas prices and food prices, grocery stores, I mean, anything, clothes, yeah, any kind of like daily supplies, cleaning, like products, whatever. The relationship of market prices and the relationship of wage compensation, I feel like goes like this and then goes like that. You know what I mean? Right. It just seems like as time goes, I know people give raises and minimum wage goes up. It's such a problem here though in California, because we're at an extreme. I feel, me living in other countries, I feel it's not as bad, or not other countries, other states. I feel like it's not as bad as California, though people manage.
There's some parts, yeah.
Yeah, there are some parts, and people do manage to find a good living in California. Yeah. And I love California. I love it. I would never move out of California.
Yeah, that's why there's so many people. Right. It's the best.
Yeah, people manage, but managing is not living, and I think that's like my main point is people now need 2 jobs, work nighttime, work daytime, because it's tough out there. And I know, like you said, this is not a political podcast. This is not a political topic. This is supposed to be a coffee topic, but coffee is part of what we're seeing, like the trend of just pricing going up, and us just staying consistent, trying to make it day by day. Yeah, we see it all the time. We see it with our coworkers. We see it with us. We see it everything. So yeah, I see it's crap, and it's frustrating, and it sucks. But all we can do, I mean, is keep grinding like we do. Yeah. I mean, keep churning at it and hope, that one day it gets better.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But moving on, do you have anything else to add to I mean, we could talk about green coffee buying and all that, exporting, importing, prices. Do you have anything to add before we move on to maybe, let's do green coffee buying, then we'll do retail, and then we'll do coffee shop.
Yeah, I do have a question because we do sell green coffee as well. And not to like give the secret sauce of anything, or not to like berate our, not even berate, not just like to expose ourselves, but
Right.
green coffee, much like other things, moves from one person to another, or it could, right? We see other companies, we research other companies and
Right.
what they sell their green coffee for.
Right.
They obviously get imported because they're not direct farmers, neither are we. Do you think I don't want to say are part of the problem, because we have to get money, right? We're a business. But the coffee buying and the coffee selling and the green buying and the green selling, that also just increases prices. Not exponentially, but it does.
Yeah.
Like, is there a way to, like, a solution that we have that we could just cut middle people out of buying in general? We don't even have to get into this. I'm just thinking of, like, we do sell green, we get it imported, it costs us something, and then we sell it for another cost. That's just the way business goes, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes and no. So
Right.
in my head, I'm thinking no, because the process is so easy, especially when you want to be like a legal roaster, like we are. If you want to be like approved, FDA approved, if you want to have all your certifications, if you want to be like, if you want your building to be 100% compliant, all those things, it's nice for what we have, because we have like a third party being compliant and they follow all the rules when it comes to green buying and everything. And to answer your question about being part of the problem, maybe, but it's not a huge problem. I think it's a huge problem if you just keep going with it and like you just keep selling and selling. And, you know, there's some companies that, like, thank God we don't have to do this, because we roast our own coffee and we just buy it from the importer. So the coffee gets imported somewhere to a warehouse, say and I heard a podcast talking about this, like they buy it, they ship it into like Europe, and then they got to fly it or ship it to Japan, and then it's like roasted in Japan, and then the people that are going to brew it like back in Europe or wherever, you know, it's like this coffee is constantly being transported, and like you can't even keep track of like the dollar signs behind that at that point. And then you got all these cafes then having to charge so much money for a cup of coffee because of the process it just went through. Sorry, that was off topic, but yes and no to your question.
I agree with that. I just kind of wanted to like to brainstorm this, because like I was thinking about this. That was like maybe the main question that I had for green coffee prices. The way I see it is,
and why they're fluctuating so much.
Yeah.
Right.
But us specifically, and again, I could only go by what we do, because we get green coffee in and we sell it. But that is not the crux of our business. That's not the primary product that we sell. We happen to have green coffee in addition to what we actually do here, which is roast coffee for people. Right. There are individuals though that import coffee and just sell coffee from directly imported, and that's their whole business. Yeah. We don't do that. No. So again, I agree with you when saying like yes and no, we're not. Yes, we're part of the problem, but no, we're not part of the problem initially. Yes, as a group collectively, somebody could say we're part of the problem because we do sell green coffee, imported green coffee, but initially that's not our business model. Our business model is roasting coffee. Not even that, it's roasting coffee for partners. Right. And then having that available, building brands. Right, we just happen to have green coffee available for the convenience
for like
of
a home roaster.
Yeah, for the convenience of our home roaster.
And that's good to have, because, you know, it's important that we have green coffee that we sell, because like it's important, like a home roaster shouldn't have to go to a huge importer and be like, I want 5 pounds of coffee, and they're like, oh, we don't offer that. Right. It's like, no, the middleman, us, offers that. And that's pretty cool. Right. You know, and yes, you can buy direct from importers, but it's usually like you have to buy like 30 pounds. I mean, I don't know the minimum. You can buy small amounts at some companies, but they're very expensive. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But moving on to what after green coffee, we roast coffee.
And you can't really you can put a price on the green coffee to roasted coffee because there are labor you have to take account into, packaging and shipping. But everything follows suit. Everything has a price increase, that needs to be price increased.
Right.
So the more process that coffee goes through, the higher it's just going to be.
Yep.
But to think about just like a cup of coffee, we made this ourselves. It virtually costs us nothing. But going to a coffee shop, an Americano could cost you what now? Like
$4 or $5 for just a straight Americano.
Straight Americano espresso shot with some water and ice if you want it chilled, right?
Right.
Do you think people justify accurately the amount of coffee that they take in, price it accurately, and sell it to the consumer? Like, you think it's done fairly, like just based off your own experiences?
No. I think it's way overpriced. Because I know what a bag of coffee costs. Say you get 12 ounces of coffee, right? For $20. 12 ounce coffee, $20. 20, $25, whatever you want to spend on it. I know you can get that cheaper, but the coffee that we sell is specialty grade, and we sell it for that price because it just makes sense. We're not getting rich off of it, but that's the money that we charge so that we can keep everything going.
Right.
So, but if you think about it, how many grams is in a 12 ounce bag of coffee? Do you know?
Grams?
Yes.
No.
So let me just do the math real quick. So, and I'm going to do this to figure out how many shots of espresso you're going to get out of a 12 ounce bag of coffee, right? And then we're going to break down the coffee prices. So let's do 12 grams.
It's like a fraction of a gram, right? It's like a fraction of a gram, right?
Right.
Because 18 grams is not even...
Oh, hold on, let me see.
Typically, what would you say is standard, just like while you're doing this, standard shot of espresso?
18 grams.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
2 grams. Sorry, listeners. I just have to figure this out. So 12 ounce bag is 340 grams of coffee.
I should know that.
Yes, we should, because it's on our bags,
Yeah.
obviously. But we just always go by grams, so it's really grams to ounces.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's do this. So 340
divided by 12
grams divided by 12
is 28 grams roughly per ounce.
Right.
Or 28.
Or let's just do espresso shots, right?
Yeah.
So we got our 340 grams of that 12 ounce bag. And we're going to divide that by 18 grams. And why? Because 18 grams is usually what a cafe is going to pull their double shot on.
That's a double shot.
18.
Yeah.
So you get 18 cups out of that bag, right? So let's take an Americano. How much you charge for an Americano? Let's say $5 right now. So those 18 times 5, $94 or 94. Yeah, $94. So 94 minus that $20 that you spent on that coffee bag.
It's a good profit.
$74 profit margins.
Yeah.
Which that sounds like a lot of money, but yeah, you got to think. You got to think of the cost of goods. You got to think of the ice. You got to think of the cafe itself, keeping the lights on, and the utilities and their payroll, all those things. But if you're making $74
just on the coffee itself,
12 ounce, and this is going to jump way higher, because if you are a cafe, you are getting wholesale prices, so you can almost double this price.
Yeah.
Right? All this being said, like, if you break down the numbers, and to answer your original question, I think that coffee shops are freaking overcharging coffee, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, Americano, $4 to $5. A latte jumps up $3. If you add any add-on, it's $1. It's $1. If you, even pour overs, like that's probably one of my favorite drinks, right? A pour over, but I never get it because it's more expensive usually, and I'm like, I'm scared. Like, unless it's like a well-known coffee shop and they got really good coffees on bar and I know that they're going to brew it right, like, I'm down. Like, yeah, I'll go spend $8 to $12 for a pour over, which sounds crazy, but if they are legit, then you know the cost. But if it's just like your standard coffee shop, I'm not going to go for it. You know, it's not worth it. So I do think they're overcharging. But it's also just, I think every shop is going to be different. It matters how many employees they have. It matters what other things that they're doing in-house. Just like we talked about on the last episode of like what your, or coffee, not 2 episodes ago, for coffee shop expectations, like what you're doing in your shop to bring in extra income so that you can, you know, keep a minimum of your coffee. You just don't have to charge $5 to $10 a cup and then figure it all out.
Yeah, it's a hard subject for us to touch upon because there's so many coffee shops that we love, and we don't want to. I don't want to paint the light as like coffee shops are bad because they're overcharging, because a lot of places are overcharging.
It's everywhere right now, so you can't
right?
really.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like there's wages they got to compensate for. There's cups or any kind of like equipment that they have to use. They have to compensate for water bills, electric bills, rent, and all that stuff. Like, I guess it's hard to identify. Like, yeah, they charge, or they're making close to $75 profit in coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a hard thing to tell somebody, like a coffee shop, like, don't overprice your coffee.
Yeah.
When everybody else is doing it, and they have to be competitive. They have to, like, they have to almost. It seems like they're kind of like stuck in a corner of. They don't have to, but
just like us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We have to follow trend, and if prices of shipping go up, well, crap, we gotta raise our prices a little bit. So they do have to too, and so you have to, like, you know, I guess I'm trying to think of how to put this clearly and why I think where the line is when you can charge, and it's when it's okay or when it's not okay. I think it's when you're taking the product and if you're keeping the quality, just like I've talked about before, if you're keeping the quality and the service and everything high, then you can follow trend.
Yeah.
But if you're taking the product and you're not brewing it correctly, or your place is a mess or whatever, like, I think there's the problem.
Yeah, that is definitely a problem. You have to match your prices to the quality of your product.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, people like you, people like me, or people like a lot of the people we work with will identify that you're kind of a fraud in charging these prices for the product that you're shelling out.
Right.
I agree with that. If you are charging the 74 profit or the $5 a cup, make sure it's worth $5.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there is a lot of coffee shops out there that do put in the work and put in the quality of a cup of coffee. But there are a lot of companies that don't, a lot of coffee shops that don't, and that's where it's kind of like tricky to identify. It's like a collective thing, like I was saying before.
It is, yeah.
They're part of the problem, but certain coffee shops aren't part of it. Collectively they are, but certain ones they put in the work.
Right.
And it's, again, like, we talk about this because it's reality, and we're experiencing tough times like a lot of other people are. And all we know is coffee trends because we work in the industry, and we see it and we support it.
Yep.
Even though it seems like we're kind of not talking so well about it, we still support our coffee shops. I went to a coffee shop the other day.
Yeah, I'll always support the coffee shop.
Like,
at that extent, though.
Yes.
If their quality goes down and prices go up, I'm sorry, but there's a line that I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but we talk about this because we live in it,
right?
And we can only share our own experiences, and we don't like. We're not in the podcasting business of being controversial or getting people mad at us, but it is what it is. And if you can't deal with some of the truth that we're saying, then maybe it's you. But
yeah, I mean, we're in the business, right? We sell roasted coffee, right? So we know it would be like if green coffee prices just went up just now. You know, they went up like $1 a pound or something, and we're like, oh dang it! So now we have to spend $1 more. It's like, I guess I'll look at other avenues to lower my quality to make up for my profit margins, like keep those high. It's like, no, like my bag quality, my label quality is still going to match it. You know, my packaging is still going to be good. I'm still going to write notes to all my customers. Like, I'm not just going to like lower my quality just because I am paying more for green coffee. It's like, you got to just stay up there. So,
yeah.
And I don't know, let's talk about retail, because I want to know what you would pay. Like, have you bought like a roasted bag of coffee anywhere other than, like, I know we're spoiled here and we get to bring home coffee and we really don't have to go buy whole bean coffee. But when's the last time you went and bought like a bag of coffee? Has it been a while?
Yeah, it's like 6 months ago, I think.
Okay.
And that was just
it's been a while for me too.
That was just to support my favorite coffee shop too.
Yeah. Steady State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
even let's talk about like Steady State and their prices. You know, it's like you go there and you see all this awesome coffee, and it's like 12-ounce bags. I think usually what they have like big bags too, but usually see a 12-ounce bag. And they're up there, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're one of the better ones. So like the coffee that you're buying is going to be good. It's actually gives it like blow your mind. You know, so it's really good coffee. You know, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But it's still an investment. Like $30 to $60 for a 12-ounce bag I've seen.
It's crazy.
It's high.
Yeah.
That's really high.
It is really high. And I mean, that's another thing is like you support the people that you know, I don't want to say have your back, but you support the people you know put in the work, or you support the people you know like care about their consumer.
Yep.
And I know for a fact Steady State cares about their consumer. They know me, they know my daughter, they know my wife, and like that makes a big difference.
Right, and you could spend $50 on a 12-ounce bag of coffee and not like hate it.
Just to support. But I see what you mean. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, and then thinking about like me and you, we sell a 12-ounce bag of coffee. Our coffee lots aren't as good as theirs because they get to buy in more of like a micro lot type of way to where they get a lot better quality of coffee. And I'm saying I feel like they're competition level where we're just like really good specialty level. So I get it. And like our prices for a 12-ounce bag, I think I'm sitting around $20 right now for it, so it makes sense, I guess, just where you're at and the margins you have to make. And it is like still, if you're paying that much money, it's still going to be cheaper if you take that home and you make cup after cup and you enjoy it. If you do the breakdown of the cost of cup, like you're going to save money still, even with those prices. Like, that's why like the people that support me and buy my coffee, I've never heard a problem, because I think they know like getting like on a subscription or something like that and like paying that amount of money for that coffee, it's worth it, at that level. And they know how much coffee they're getting out of it. And if you break it down, it's still like $1.50 for a cup of coffee or whatever that cost might be, rather than going to a coffee shop. You buy, if I go to the coffee shop with me and my family, it's going to be around $30. It's like, for 4 drinks, right? 4 drinks, and maybe you get like a snack in there. But like, if I would have spent that money for my visit at that one coffee shop for a bag of coffee, I could have went home to my awesome brew bar and I could have had 2 weeks worth of drinks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So like, yes, it's always better to buy whole bean and do your own thing, but I mean, come on, it's so fun going out to a coffee shop and getting the experience and supporting people, and especially the coffee shops we love. Like, it's good just being out and supporting and enjoying drinks. And So it's hard, man. It's a hard time that we live in.
It is hard, yeah.
But I think you got to have a good balance of both, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think like maybe 90% should be at home. You should be supporting like local roasters, and I think you should be investing yourself in, especially if you like have a friend that roasts, or for any of our friends listening, supporters of ours, it's like, and if you buy coffee from us, first of all, thank you, but like,
Oh, yeah.
that's huge. Like let that be 90% of your coffee that you consume, and then spend 10% going to coffee shops and supporting them. If you're flip-flop, then you're spending a lot of money on a few drinks. It's like the people going to Starbucks, it's like they're spending $8 for a frappuccino, getting like barely any coffee. They're really just paying for dairy and sugar at that point. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, you could the money that you're spending on that, you could invest in like a sick brew bar, like all these things, if you just like spend the time teaching yourself. But we live in a world of convenience nowadays, so it's hard.
It's really convenient actually to have your own brew bar at your house.
Once you develop it, once you invest in it, it's like you learn to love it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm saving hundreds of dollars a month.
Dude, me and Lindsay talk about that all the time. In fact, it's funny because like I was telling her, oh yeah, I'm about to start the podcast. See you later. And I was like, because she wanted a matcha from the press, because she likes their matcha lattes.
Nice. Yeah.
I was like, do you want to bring you a matcha home? She's like, no, actually, I'm gonna make an iced tea at home. Let's save our money today.
Yeah.
It's exactly what she said. And I was like, yeah, probably we should.
Smart.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we're in it, and it's nice, the convenience. Oh yeah, getting back to like having your own brew bar. Since working here, I never appreciated anything more than like having that at my house.
Right.
Because we recognize that we save so much money doing that, and it's awesome to be able to like to like hone your skill. And we talked about that, and make something that you'll like because you made it,
right?
And you made it in a way that like it's always, at least you try to be always consistent.
Yeah.
Opposed to like, oh, I didn't get Cam today. I got some other person making my latte, and it's not as good as Cam's. But if you actually put in the work yourselves and you do it, you're gonna make it the same every time at home. You can't beat that.
Yeah. It's like this. I mean, take this cup of coffee. This is our blonde roast that we roast here, and this was from an automatic espresso machine.
Yeah.
No effort went into it. There was like a $300 investment for that machine.
Uh-huh.
It grinds it whole bean. It pumps out some espresso. This is way better than a lot of what I get at like a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
No, yeah.
And it's so good.
So I think, putting in time and money to have your own brew bar is always recommended. Mm-hmm. Also, at the same time, go support your local coffee shop if they're worth supporting.
Yeah.
I do want to ask another question though.
Yep.
Going back to like, this is kind of like a fun game, kind of like like put yourself in a scenario kind of like thing.
Okay.
Say TCR decides to open up like a cafe. Like we're growing so exponentially, and we're trying to find like the next thing to do here, and we're like, all right, it's time to put up like a cupping station or like a cafe here, or like let's show our skills in coffee making. And knowing what we know,
yes,
or just based off like your experiences, what would you charge for like a latte?
All right, so I'm gonna go by like size. So let's say like a 12 ounce latte. Mm-hmm. No, lattes are a little smaller. So anywhere from an 8 ounce to 12 ounce. I like seeing like a $6 latte.
Interesting.
I think that's a good price. And I don't feel like that's overcharging. I think 7 is pushing it. 8 is a heck no. In my mind.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right.
And right now where we're sitting in the economy. Yeah. I think $6 for a good latte is good. What would you charge?
A latte. See, I could only go off of what I know. Let's see, 12 ounce. We said that's like a $9. I'm gonna have to go like, I think I can't get away from $5 for some reason.
Okay.
just because
Well, that's
like,
better than me.
well, just depending
Yeah.
on like who's making it, and I think that's like a factor you really need to put into is like inconsistency when like you go to a coffee shop.
Yep.
You would hope that they're like everybody's good at doing the exact same thing, but it's just sometimes it's not realistic.
Yep.
And I would include that here. Like I wouldn't make as good as the latte as you or Nate would.
You would.
I'd make a decent one, but not as good as you guys, to be honest. So like there is levels to who is making your latte, especially with us considering.
Yeah.
And I think because of that reason, I wouldn't charge more than like $5 for a latte.
Okay. So what about this? I think actually that's a good thing. So like, I think you're a generic like plain latte, milk and coffee. That's it.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
For a latte, hot or cold. I think if you do flavored, like add some flavoring, obviously that's going to cost a little more. So maybe $5.50 to $6. I think if you have a specialty latte, something that's like, you know, you got something on top of the latte, if you got like things to go with it, if you have like a different kind of experience, specialty, like, you know, a craft latte, I guess you could say, I could see that going to $7. But even that's like, I could see that.
It's also important, like the espresso that is used. Like,
Big time.
Yeah, we failed to mention that because depending on the coffee bean that you use, it's the price should go up or down because you don't want to use like cheap robust stuff for your espresso.
Yeah. No, we're talking about good like medium, maybe medium dark, but that's pushing it.
Yeah, coffee
like
worth
specialty grade coffee, not cheap coffee.
Right.
That's what I'm having in mind. It's good coffee, always good coffee.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. What would like our coffee shop consist of? Yeah. If we did start a cafe here, imagination aside, it wouldn't be.
No, you keep all the non-specialty grade coffee at wherever the heck you can find it. At your diners, at gas stations, you know. But if you're a coffee shop, keep that away.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, $5 to $6, I think is fair.
Yeah. What about like pour overs?
So pour over, I was gonna ask you that too. Like, you say that they charge pretty high for a pour over. Yeah. I'm assuming that's because of the craft of a pour over, like the skill of
and
a
time,
pour over
I think,
and the time. I don't think that should be a factor in increasing the prices of a coffee cup.
You're using less coffee. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And you're not using milk. I get it if it's like an expensive coffee. Like they paid a lot for that green coffee. They roasted it. They really had to be careful with it. And it's like this expensive coffee that they invested in to serve an expensive pour over. I get that. But if it's just like a pour over of what they're offering as espresso or like their batch brew, you know, if it's like the same thing but as a pour over, then it better not be more expensive. Like if anything, it should be less.
Yeah, I don't think pour over should cost more than a standard cup of coffee. I mean, it's essentially
a lot of places don't do it because it's time consuming. It takes up to 5 minutes to do it, and it takes someone off bar, especially if it's busy. They up the price so that you don't lose someone off bar and then flow doesn't go off. Like, because it does. I mean, if I was in a coffee shop and it was busy and there was 2 people working bar and then we got a pour over, that's hard to manage because it's like, oh crap, I gotta spend $5 doing this, or five minutes doing this. So I get that, but if that's part of the problem, then maybe you have to figure out a solution if it comes to like prices, because obviously, yeah, like you're saying, it shouldn't be more. So you have to figure out a way to do it.
I think there should be some, like, it just in response to that. The way that you work and I work and some people that we know work, there should be some multitasking involved when pour overs are requested to be made.
Yeah.
Because if you are making, how could I say this? We're not charging ourselves for grinding fine opposed to whole bean differently than because of time. We're not charging the difference of that. because we know how to multitask. We know how to put that time and effort into something else when something else is taking a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
Coffee shop should be the same way.
Right.
I think that should just be a standard practice of like any kind of work.
Yeah.
Like if you're waiting on something, you don't be standing around waiting for that certain thing. If you're running a business efficiently, there should be some multitasking. It's called a job for a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And if you are a worker or an employee at a coffee shop or an owner, and we're totally just like out of the loop here and we don't know what we're talking about because we do not have coffee shop experience, call us out.
Yeah.
Tell us why you do it.
Yeah.
If you're bold enough, comment, your opinion on it, because I really would like to know.
I would love to know too.
Yeah.
I don't really order pour overs as much as you, so I don't really see the price differences in that.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a coffee shop, it's usually a latte. I don't really like.
Yeah.
It's hard to say this because I do make lattes at home, but if I'm going to a coffee shop, I want to try to like get something that I really can't make at home.
Yeah.
Or like the syrups like I don't have at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was listening. I'm laughing because I listened to a podcast, and this coffee professional said that everywhere she goes, she orders pour overs always, or just black coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Always black coffee. She never gets lattes or anything because she wants to experience. Like she's a coffee like professional. She lives at a farm. Like she does all those things. So she appreciates the product so much that all she's gonna ever do is drink black coffee to get the experience, to taste it. And like it kind of convicted me because I'm like, dang, I go to good coffee shops, and if I appreciate the whole process of coffee, I should be getting black coffee to enjoy the experience of what the natural state of that product actually is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap.
No, it's. I don't think it's like.
I love lattes. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I do order them all the time. But I was like, maybe I should.
Yeah.
If like, especially because I'm in like I'm a coffee professional myself. So maybe when I do go, I should buy black coffee all the time.
You should, and I don't think it's an like all crap moment. Or like an all crap thing. I think it's just like taste. Like maybe someday, it's like some days, yeah, you'll feel like having a pour over. You feel like you should taste like the natural taste of a coffee or what it's meant to taste like, based off of like the farming process. Yeah. There's also days like you appreciate the art of a latte. You appreciate the art of like making a perfect or pulling a perfect shot and making the art of a latte art. If you decide to go with the latte art kind of latte, I think it's day to day, whatever you're really feeling. Right. I don't think there should be like any negative.
Yeah, I just felt kind of bad. I was like, oh man.
But also at the same time, like talking about Cameron, when I took him to Steady State for the first time, he ordered an espresso shot to make sure what it tastes like. Yeah. Water, a latte, and a pour over. He had all three, dude.
Jacked.
Yeah. And I again, like with coffee prices, I can't do that, especially at Steady State, even though I love them.
Now their pour overs are gnarly expensive.
So I wouldn't do that, but Cameron being a coffee professional as well as you, I could see like, maybe it's a good practice to do.
Right. Especially if you go every now and then.
So long that you could afford it.
Right. Bougie, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, I guess, our discussion on pricing on green coffee, farming, and coffee shops in general. And again, like we're not professionals, nor do we have like coffee shop experience or like farming experience. We just know what we know, and we're here to talk about what we know. Yeah. And that's our opinion on it. Yeah. And again, like I like you said, I encourage people to comment if you do work at any of those things that we don't. Yep. Let us know, what is your experiences, what is your background, what do you know? Give us some knowledge as well as like,
heck yeah. Yeah, let us know. And then also, I meant to do this in the beginning of the episode, but I wanted to thank just all the listeners that we have, because I don't know how many we have on Apple Podcasts because I can't see the numbers. I'm guessing it's good. 10 to 20. Between that and YouTube, we are hitting 50 plus people that are actually investing their time into listening to our voices and listening to our opinions and spending their time involved in our life. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Share us if you can, like us if you can. Please comment so that we can see who's listening and who's out there. And if you have any questions, just let us know, because we will be happy to answer anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then sub, if you guys like what we talked about, or just like us in general, or don't like us, sub and comment and just give us your opinions. I mean, we're open books, we're thick-skinned people, but we're also friendly people. So.
And we are not doing this for money, obviously. So whatever you can do helps. I mean,
so appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.